আচ্ছা দেখো আমরা একটু শুরু করি, ঠিক আছে? আচ্ছা ভিডিও করছো? আচ্ছা ভিডিও শেয়ার করার দরকার নাই, ঠিক আছে? কারণ তারা আমি কি জানি আসে নাই কেন বলো না, গ্রুপে শেয়ার করো, মানে গ্রুপের বাইরে শেয়ার করো, ঠিক আছে? ব্যাপারটা কি হয়, আমরা যখন কথা বলি, একটু বলে নিই, শুনো, আমরা যখন কথা বলি দেখা যায় মাঝে মাঝে কিছু ভুল হয়ে যায় কথা বলাতে, বুঝো নেই? পরে দেখা যাবে এটা বলে বেড়ানো হবে যে হ্যাঁ ভুল শেখাচ্ছে, এই জন্যই মাঝে মাঝে ভুল হয়ে যায়, না নিজের ইচ্ছা না সত্ত্বেও মাঝে মাঝে ভুল হয়ে যায় আর যাই হোক, আমার আগে জানতে হবে এটা কি জিনিস, তাই না? আচ্ছা দুইটা একসাথে দেখ, আচ্ছা আমরা আগে এটা একটু দেখে নিই, পরে আমরা ওই ইয়েটার সাথে একটু মিলাবো, হ্যাঁ? আচ্ছা পয়েন্টগুলো একজন এটা খুলে দাও তো কষ্ট করে, খুলো তো এটা একদম আরো উল্টাও, শেষের দিকে যাও, আরো যাও, হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, যাও তো ঠিক আছে। আচ্ছা যাই হোক, আমরা যেটা একটু বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম, আমরা যদি এটা পড়তে চাই, এটা কি জিনিস আগে জানতে হবে, হোয়াট ইজ দিস? ওকে, it is the covering of brain, and we all know that the covering of the brain is called meninges. The covering of the brain is called meninges. Okay, and we also know that when we have already discussed about all of the viscera, normally there are two layers of this covering. One layer that attached to the viscera and one layer that lies outside of this viscera. Okay, but in that case, in that brain, we will find three layers. Okay, normally, such as in pericardium or pleura. Pleura is the lining of the lung, and the pericardium is the lining of the heart, as well as peritoneum is the lining of the abdominal viscera. Okay, all of them has only two layers. One layer that attached to this viscera, and another layer that lies just outside of this viscera, not attached to the viscera. But in that case of brain, we will find three layers. Okay, so the meninges has three layers, and two layers of the meninges that attach to this brain. So here we can't find these two layers. Why? Because that two layers are attached with the brain, and these two layers are commonly called as leptomeninges. Okay, so when we will discuss about the viscera of the brain, then you have to say that it is the viscera of the brain with its leptomeninges. Okay, I am repeating again that when we will discuss about the viscera of the brain, so what we will call, we will tell that we will tell that it is the viscera of the brain with its leptomeninges. Means the leptomeninges is the part of meninges that is attached with the brain. Okay, and the leptomeninges has two layers. One is called arachnoid matter, and one is called pia matter. And this arachnoid matter and pia matter that normally attached with the brain. And this layer, it is not attached to the brain. It is normally attached to our surrounding skull, surrounding bones. Okay, and this is called dura mater. So from these things we have already find that the meninges has three layers. Outer layer is called dura mater, middle layer is called arachnoid mater, and the inner layer is called pia mater. Okay, the arachnoid matter and the pia mater, that combinedly called as leptomeninges, and that normally lies with the brain, attached to the brain. So that's why, as there is no brain here, we can't find these two layers, because these two layers normally attached with the brain. So here we will find only one layer of the meninges, and which is called dura mater. Okay, so it is the dura mater of the brain. Now we know that the central nervous system is covered with meninges. Okay, the central nervous system is covered with meninges. So the dura mater should be present around the brain, as well as the dura mater should be present around the spinal cord. Not only the dura mater, the arachnoid mater, pia mater. So all of this lining of the meninges should present around the brain and around the spinal cord. But here we have only the dura mater surrounding the brain. The spinal dura is not present here. So from the location we can easily divide the dura mater into two parts. One is spinal dura, one is cranial dura. Means the dura mater which surrounds the brain, it is called cranial dura. So can you tell me, is there any covering of the spinal cord present here or not? Not. So if you tell that it's the dura mater, it's not a complete answer. The complete answer of this viscera is the viscera of cranial dura. Means cranial part, brain part of dura mater. Cranial part of dura mater. Okay. So firstly, you have to say that it is the viscera of cranial dura. Okay. So I think you have already realized that why it is called cranial dura. Okay. Now how can you say that which one is the anterior part and which one is the posterior part? Okay. Firstly, I have to say that when we want to see the viscera from the inside, we can find some folding here. Okay. In the inside, we can find some folding. Okay. We can find some folding. And in the posterior part of the folding, okay, তোমরা যদি দেখো এই জায়গাটা দেখো, এই যে দেখো এই জায়গাটা কি আছে, একটু একটা তাবুর মতো আছে না, টেন শেপড। ওকে, সো এইটা কোন দিকে থাকবে? পোস্টেরিয়রলি থাকবে। সো দিস folding, there are some folding in between the dura mater. In the anterior part there is no ten-shaped folding, but in the posterior part there are some folding. Okay, so by these things we can determine that this part should lie posteriorly. Okay, so that is the anatomical position of this dura mater. Okay, like a hat, মানে টুপির মতো ধরবা, আমরা টুপি পরি না এভাবে, hat পরি না, we usually have some hat in our head. So that's like we have to give this we have to positioning this viscera in that way. Where? Over our head. Okay, মানে কিভাবে ধরবো আমরা, এই যে একটু দেখি হেডের উপর ধরবো। আচ্ছা না, that's a joke. Okay, we have to hold this viscera in that way. Okay, not above the head. Okay, so that's the anatomical position of this cranial dura. Okay, now the cranial dura we have already discussed, and another part of the dura which is called spinal dura, it is not present here. আচ্ছা, এখন আমরা একটু দেখি কি কি আছে। So it is the cranial dura, and the cranial dura has two layers. This dura mater has two layers. Okay, one part of dura mater that attached to this skull, and another part of the dura mater, it is invaginated within the brain. And which part of dura mater that is attached this which part of dura mater that is attached to the skull, which is called endosteal layer, and which part of dura mater that invaginates within the brain, which is called meningeal layer of dura mater. Okay, so the dura mater has two layers or two parts. Outside it is called endosteal layer, and inner side it is called meningeal layer. Okay, so from here we can find that it should be the endosteal layer. So this part normally attached with the bones, means the skull. This endosteal layer that attached to the skull, and in between this dura, আমি যদি একটু দেখাতে চাই, দেখুন একটু মোটামুটি বোঝা যায় তো, you can find some folding in between. So which are the foldings here? These foldings are the meningeal part of the dura. Okay, and in the meningeal part there are four folding present. There are four foldings present. Okay, তাহলে আমরা একটু ফোল্ডিং গুলো একটু দেখি, তাহলে কি কি ফোল্ডিং আছে দেখো। আগে সামনে যারা আছো দেখো, আমি এক সাইড সাইড করে দেখাই, হ্যাঁ। তো যেটা আমরা একটু বলছিলাম দেখো,